You ever meet someone who could smile at you like your best friend, while plotting the quickest way to ruin you? That was Officer Raymond Kane. To the folks in Brookdale, Kane was the neighborhood's hero. The guy who helped little old ladies cross the street, pulled stranded drivers out of the rain, and remembered every kid's birthday. He had that charm that made people forgive the smallest mistakes, and that polished uniform made him look untouchable. But under that crisp blue uniform was rot, the kind of rot you don't notice until it's too late. Raymond Kane didn't start out bad. When he joined the force 10 years ago, he genuinely wanted to protect people. He wanted to make a difference. He had the idealism that makes rookies show up early, read every rule book, and dream of catching the bad guys. But the city has a way of breaking people, or bending them. It started small, a speeding ticket overlooked for the right price, a friendly nod to cover a buddy's late-night trouble. Kane told himself it was harmless, everyone did it, right? But those little compromises were seeds. Before long, he noticed that bending the rules got him respect, influence, and money that the paycheck alone never could. He began to crave it. Before the warehouse fire, Kane had already danced on the edge of disaster once. A local drug deal gone wrong. 2 gang members shot in broad daylight near a school playground. Kane arrived first, alone, and instead of calling backup, he staged the scene, moved bodies, planted false evidence, and whispered the story to witnesses. Official report called it a tragic accident in a dispute, and Kane collected his quiet paycheck from the DeMarco crew. Nobody suspected the cop who was supposed to protect them was the one covering the tracks. Then came the DeMarco crew itself. Kane's contacts started as routine surveillance, monitoring shipments, reporting movements, but soon turned into collaboration. A wink, a nod, and Kane found himself their inside man. He passed along intel, kept rival crews off their back, and collected hush money. At first, he rationalized it. He wasn't hurting innocent people, just protecting the city from worse chaos. But that rationalization didn't last long. It all came to a head with the warehouse fire. Flames so tall they licked the night sky while news cameras swarmed. The official report claimed faulty wiring, an accident, but Kane knew better. He knew because he had lit the match himself, ensuring the truth would be buried beneath the flames. The warehouse belonged to the DeMarco crew, a gang running drugs and stolen goods through the docks. Kane had been their inside man for months, covering tracks and collecting hush money. That night, he made sure the evidence went up in flames, because it was about to be raided by his colleagues. A simple fire, he thought, clean, invisible, untraceable, just another job done in the shadows without consequence. Thing is, when you live a life built on lies, mistakes become expensive. Kane's mistake had a name, Mason Rivera, a quiet local mechanic who avoided trouble entirely. Mason had seen Kane leaving the warehouse that night, a box in his hands, a shadow in the flames. He didn't speak, just gave that piercing, knowing look. Kane tried the friendly visit route the next morning. He leaned against Mason's counter, flashing a grin that didn't reach his eyes. I'd hate for anyone to get hurt. Mason nodded politely, tightening his grip on a wrench. His silence said more than words could. Kane felt the tension coil tighter with every passing second. Panicked, Kane acted. He planted a duffel bag of stolen electronics in Mason's garage, made an anonymous tip, and watched the police drag Mason away in handcuffs. Kane told himself it was for the greater good, covering tracks, keeping the operation running. Mason's protests echoed in vain, falling on deaf ears in a corrupted system. But crime has a way of sneaking up behind you. 2 weeks later, Kane answered a knock, to find Carla Morris, internal affairs detective, standing with arms crossed. Her stare could make grown men sweat. "Ray," she said, "we need to talk." Kane tried charm, but Carla interrupted, sliding a folder of damning photographs toward him. The grainy shots showed Kane at the docks, leaving the warehouse, and passing an envelope to a man labeled as a known associate of the DeMarco crew. She didn't yell or threaten, just watched him, and Kane, for the first time in a long while, felt the same fear he usually inspired in others. He spent the next 3 days pacing, sweating, making desperate phone calls, trying to find a way out, but there was no escape. The net was closing in. The neighborhood, meanwhile, still loved Kane. He delivered meals to Mrs. Peters, stopped a runaway dog from traffic, and posed for photos at the community picnic, earning everyone's trust effortlessly. Every handshake, every wave, every smile was a lie layered on top of another lie. Kane realized too late that the more heroic he appeared, the harder his fall. When the cuffs finally clicked around his wrists, half the neighborhood came out to watch. The same people who waved, who smiled, who called him a hero. Kane kept his eyes straight ahead, pretending he didn't notice. But from the corner of his vision, Mason Rivera leaned against a lamppost, free, relaxed, and smirking. Inside the cruiser, Kane had time to think. The badge, the lies, the money, the respect he thought he'd earned, all gone because he trusted himself too much. That badge hadn't protected him, it had only made his fall more spectacular. Brookdale learned something that day. Even those who smile brightest can hide the darkest secrets. Justice doesn't always come quickly, but it comes, and when it comes, it doesn't miss. Striking with a finality that leaves no room for escape or excuses.
If you enjoyed the story you watched, please check out my channel. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more.